Hey guys, this is God of Politics. Welcome back to a brand new video, but before we get started with this video, please like this video and subscribe to the channel. Also join the Discord that is linked down in the description and check out the website, which is also linked down in the description. But in today's video, I am doing my updated presidential battleground map. Today's date is October 15th. We are now, I believe, 19 days until the election, so I will be doing my mid-month battleground map. I'll have one more map that I'll do just before the election, which will be my final prediction of the election. But let's get right into it. So, as always, we will do the safe states for the Republicans. That includes Idaho, Montana, Wyoming, Utah, North Dakota, South Dakota, all of Nebraska except for the 2nd Congressional District, Kansas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Missouri, as well as Alabama, Tennessee, Kentucky, Indiana, West Virginia. So that's 113 safe electoral votes for Donald Trump and Mike Pence. And then for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, I do believe they will win Washington, Oregon, California, as well as Colorado, New Mexico, Hawaii, Illinois, as well as New York, Vermont, Massachusetts, Connecticut, Rhode Island, New Jersey, Delaware, Maryland, D.C., as well as Maine's 1st District, and Maine at large, and Virginia. So that's 212 electoral votes, almost 100 more than Donald Trump and Mike Pence's 113 electoral votes. And I categorize these safe states as states going to Donald Trump or Joe Biden by more than 10 percentage points. So now the likely margin states, which is between 5 and 10 percentage points, first for the Republican Party. I will start off with the state of Alaska. This is a race that, it's a state that went to Donald Trump by 14 in 2016, and it could be a little closer in this election just due to the fact that Joe Biden could gain in some of the rural areas like Anchorage and Juneau, those kinds of areas. So it could be a little bit under 10, but I don't expect much more than that. Same thing with South Carolina. It could just be a little bit closer. Went by around 14 in 2016. Don't think it'll be much less than 10, but it'll be around 10, maybe going a little bit down into the likely margin. Those are both likely states for Donald Trump and Mike Pence. And then for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, I do believe he will win Nevada by a likely margin. Sure, he wasn't doing as well with Latinos, but he's actually been improving with Latinos, and he can do well in the Las Vegas suburbs, and he's doing well in the polls, which in Nevada have historically underestimated Democrats, so I do expect him to do well in the state of Nevada. New Hampshire's another state I also think is likely Democrat. The polls here were literally exactly right. Had Hillary Clinton up by 0.3, she won by 0.3 in 2016. Now the polls, we had polls which showed Clinton +1 in 2016, now showing Clinton +7. That's Emerson. We had University of New Hampshire polls showing showing Biden up by around 12% or something like that. So he's in a very good position right now. And sure, he didn't do well here in the primary, but I still think he will be able to win at New Hampshire quite easily. So that is all the likely margin states for the Democrats. So Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are 222 electoral votes. Donald Trump and Mike Pence are 125. Now the lean margin states, which is between 2 and 5 percentage points. First is the big prize with 38 electoral votes, and that is the state of Texas. Now, Texas is an interesting state because, it's trending towards the Democrats. It went by 9 in 2016 to Donald Trump. In 2012, it went to Mitt Romney by 17. Beto O'Rourke lost by 2.6% in 2018. So it's been getting closer for quite a while now. And, Democrats, there's a little bit of talk about Democrats being able to flip it. I don't think they'll be able to flip it. I think they can flip a number of House seats like the 21st, the 22nd, the 23rd, the 24th, as well as a lot of House district seats. They could actually retake the Texas House, which is kind of a sleeper race not a lot of people are talking about. But looking at the presidential race, the polls which actually underestimated Hillary Clinton in 2016 are showing the race to be around 3 to 4 percentage points, which was what I do think it'll be at. I think it'll be around, maybe 4 percentage points. But really, this will be a very interesting state to see on election night how it actually goes, and I'm very looking forward to that. Then the next two states I do believe will be lean margin states are Iowa and Ohio. Now, these are interesting states because we look at the polling data. Ohio is actually in the lead for Joe Biden on the polling data, and Iowa is, I believe, very close. I think it's around tied, if not a slight lead for Donald Trump. And we've had good polls that shown it very close. And while, polls in 2016 underestimated Republicans and Donald Trump in the states of Ohio and Iowa, which I am factoring in because otherwise I'd put Ohio at like ~D and Iowa at, till R. But I am putting these both at lean R because, they trended so much towards the Republicans in 2016 that they are going to trend a little bit back a little bit, which they did do in 2018 as well. But I do expect it compared to 2016 to trend a little bit more to the blue column. But overall, the trend of these states is towards the Republicans. And the reason it's trending a little bit blue this cycle is because of the national environment being more blue. So now the lean margin states for the Democrats, and that includes all 4 of these Rust Belt states over here: Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. Now, Pennsylvania, Joe Biden's doing very well in right now. He's doing very well in the mail-in ballots if you want to look at the mail-in ballot data, which is kind of sketchy. The data shows Joe Biden not doing very well in Wisconsin, but doing well in Pennsylvania. I think it's somewhere in the middle. I don't think Joe Biden's doing that well, but he is still doing well in Pennsylvania. Don't get me wrong. He's expected to do very well in the Philadelphia suburbs, and he can gain in the Pittsburgh suburbs. He can also do better in places like Erie County. He's doing well in the polls too, even a poll like Trafalgar, which was the only poll to get the margin exactly right in 2016. They do show that Biden's up by 2 percentage points, and this is, again, what the map looks like right now. So I do think that right now Joe Biden's in a good position in Pennsylvania. I do think he will win it by a lean margin. Similar story with Michigan, which is, a very traditionally Democrat state, run by Democrats. Democrats won the popular vote in the state legislature races. They won the governor races. They have 2 Democratic senators. And, it's gone Republican once at the presidential level since 1988, and that was 2016. But the polling data is showing that Joe Biden's in a very good position here. Joe Biden has a lot of room to gain, in these Detroit areas. And Donald Trump has room to gain in these rural areas too. But the point is, can Joe Biden kind of limit that damage in the rural areas while also doing well in the Detroit areas and the Detroit suburbs where turnout was down in 2016. Now, Wisconsin's another interesting one because you've got, Milwaukee and Madison, which are the 2 Democratic strongholds of the state, which it looks like Joe Biden's doing quite well in right now. He's also doing well in areas like Kenosha, and he's gaining in places like Racine County, and it looks like he can gain in some of the WOW counties too, those Milwaukee suburbs, so we'll see about that. The rural areas will continue to trend towards Donald Trump, but I think, at least in this case, it won't trend enough for Donald Trump to be able to win this state. Minnesota is another, very unique state because it's got one main city. You've got Minneapolis and its suburbs. The suburbs are trending towards the Democrats. The Iron Range up in the north here is trending towards the Republicans. Now, I do think that the suburban trend is more significant just due to the fact that there's more people in this suburban trend in the Minneapolis suburbs. And, before people start talking about the riots, things like that, that's part of the reason Donald Trump is down by so much right now, because his riot response was so poor and his law and order message isn't actually resonating with independents and moderate and undecided voters. So I do believe Minnesota will go by lean margin, but this is kind of upper tier lean margin, like maybe 4 to 5 points, and then while all 3 of these states are probably more around 2 to 3 percentage points, but they are still lean regardless. Now, getting into the tilt, actually, Nebraska's second, which is a very suburban district. Polls have shown, New York Times polls showed Biden up 7 percentage points in Nebraska's second. It trended 5 points blue in 2016, and Joe Biden's looking in a very good position to flip this district. So after the lean margin states, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are actually at 279 electoral votes, so they've already crossed the 270 that they need. Donald Trump and Mike Pence are at 187 electoral votes. Then getting into the tilt margin states. Now, it is these 3 states here, Florida, Georgia, and North Carolina. And these states are just razor thin. If I could, put toss-ups, I don't put toss-ups, but if I did, I would put all 3 of these states at complete toss-up, because we look at the Georgia polls recently, which have been very good for Joe Biden. Don't trust polls like Quinnipiac that show Biden up 7 in Georgia, but even still, you weight the polls and it looks like it's good signs for Biden. And you look at the fundamentals of this state, the suburban areas are trending towards the Democrats. Republicans are pretty maxed out in these rural areas. In Florida, Joe Biden can win a lot of those older voters back, and if he can limit the damage with the Latino voters that he might be losing a little bit from, if he can maybe win Miami-Dade by maybe 5 points less than Hillary, while also gaining in areas like Hillsborough County, in areas like Duval County. So I think he can win the state of Florida, but I do think that, Donald Trump being from here, the fact that he voted for him in 2016 and it likes incumbents, the older voters that are still probably going to vote for him, I think Florida is tilted R for that reason. North Carolina is another very interesting state because this is a ticket-splitting state. You will see my prediction for the Senate that I do have this seat as tilted Democrat for the Senate race. Now, there's conflicting trends here because you've got the rural areas that are trending towards the Republicans and the suburban areas that are trending towards the Democrats. The question is, how much will it affect it? Well, it looks like there's more suburban areas trending towards the Democrats. That's why the state is going to be decided by less than 2016, also with the national environment trends. But the thing is, the question is, can Joe Biden win it? I think he will narrowly lose it, but it is going to be very close. I also think Maine's second congressional district is tilt Republican. Before you say, oh, well, Trump won it by 10 percentage points in 2016. Well, Obama won it by 8 percentage points in 2012, and that was an 18-point shift to 2016. So it wouldn't take actually that much for a 9-point trend back towards the Democrats, especially considering the fact that Joe Biden is doing better with white working class voters, better with the rural voters. He did better here in the primary, and he is just a better all-around candidate for this area. You've also got Sarah Gideon, which is doing well against Susan Collins. And so I do expect him to be able to do well in Maine 2nd District. I don't think he'll win it, but I do think he will make it very close. And then the final state here is the state of Arizona, which is quite an interesting state. You know, sure, we had a Trafalgar poll that had Biden down 4, but they also had McSally up 2, and that was the result was more than 4 percentage points off. So you have to take that with a grain of salt. You know, the polling average does show Biden up in the state of Arizona. You've got Maricopa County, which is trending very, very fast for the Democrats. We had a recent poll from Monmouth, which showed Biden up by around like 7 percentage points in Arizona. Well, you know, Monmouth's a good pollster. I don't think Biden's up that much, but the gist of it is that Biden is gaining a lot in Maricopa County. You could win Maricopa County by, you know, maybe 5 percentage points. So that would be very significant to him, and that would be very significant to him winning the state of Arizona and then winning overall the election, which I do predict him to get 290 electoral votes for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris and 248 electoral votes for Donald Trump and Mike Pence. So I will have one more prediction, which will be, you know, probably on November 2nd. That will be my last prediction. It'll be a very hyped up prediction, and it will be my final prediction for how the election is going to go. But this is my second to last prediction, and this is what the map looks like. So thank you all for watching this video. Please like this video and subscribe to the channel. Also join the Discord that is linked down in the description, and check out the website, which is also linked down in the description. So again, guys, thank you all for watching this video, and I will see you guys later.